What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about more Pokemon home builds for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, featuring the Alolan and the Galarian. If you want to check out my Hisuian builds, check out yesterday's video as we covered every single Hisuian Pokemon with builds that are great for VGC, for raiding, for single player, and more. And of course, guys, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and consider joining the Pan fam today by hitting that join channel member button below. So let's begin with our Pokemon Showdown team builder right here. And we got Alolan Raichu as our very first one. And this is a fan favorite Pokemon for sure. And it's a pretty decently strong one. I mean, looking at its stats, 95 special attack, 110 speed, pretty respectable and usable for sure. I think the best method is either go modest nature or maybe like a timid nature for that plus speed. Either way, you want to be fast and you want to hit hard, and our move set is going to be nasty plot because, you know, we have a pretty sort of low special attack, but if we increase it after one nasty plot, we're going to be KOing things for sure. Side shock for our psychic move, but you could use psychic here as well. Thunderbolt for that stab, and then Focus Blast is going to be good coverage. Out of all the moves on the special side, I think Focus Blast ends up being the best coverage move that Alolan and Raichu can learn. Its ability is Surge Surfer. It can only be Surge Surfer, and I prefer Life Orb because we need a little bit more damage output to actually get some knockouts with this Pokemon. Now we have Alolan Dugtrio, which is going to be ground and steel type. Very similar to our regular Dugtrio build. We're going to be using Focus Sash here because we're a little bit weak, and then Sand Force if you are in the sand. If you're not in the sand, then I actually recommend using a Tangling Hair, but I prefer to use this Pokemon on a sand team. And a very simple build. We're going to go max attack, max speed, and we want to go with the Jolly nature because we are so frail. We need to outspeed. It's incredibly important that I actually do the outspeeding here. And we're gonna go with dual stab with Earthquake and Iron Head, and then some coverage moves with Stone Edge being probably one of the better ones that we can do. And Sucker Punch will pretty much always allow us to go first as long as the opponent actually attacks, so that's gonna be really good. But if you don't want Sucker Punch, you can put like Night Slash on this slot if you would like to. You can also put like Shadow Claws, another decent option here as well. And then we have Alolan Persian. Now Alolan Persian, not the best Pokemon, honestly. I would sort of recommend not even building this Pokemon in general, but hey, if you're an Alolan Persian fan, you want to use this in competitive play or something like that, we got some options for you. So looking at the abilities here, I think Fur Coat is going to be the best one because one, our attack stat is so pitiful at 60 and special attack at 75. I think we're actually better off going on the defensive side, and this Pokemon's defense is doubled. So that 60 defense is going to become 120, which is actually really good. So 120 defense and then 115 speed makes us like a bulky, speedy guy, good for like a support Pokemon in general. And I do recommend probably going max speed with a timid nature. And if you want to do damage, probably max special attack, but you could also go max defense as well. And I think a Choice Scarf build actually ends up being sort of the best because we don't really want to stay in and take damage, and we want to be really fast and do what we want to do quickly as possible. So some of the moves I like was Parting Shot. One of the few Pokemon actually gets it. Lowers the target's attack and special attack by 1 and switches out. So that's going to be really good, Choice Scarf. And then to use that special attacking stat, Dark Pulse is going to be our big stab move. And then for coverage, Thunderbolt's always going to be good. And then Power Gem is another good one. The moveset's sort of awkward because like Persian normally as a Pokemon learns a lot better physical moves than special moves, but because we are more of a special attacker, we got to sort of be really you know, we got to be considerate of that. You can also use Switcheroo instead of Power Gem. So if you could like Choice Scarf Switcheroo into something, and then you essentially trick the Choice Scarf into something, and then you get a different item, and then you can start popping off of other moves. Now we have Alolan Muk, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, actually. And I think a build is gonna be super simple on this guy. We're just gonna go for like a bulky sweeper, max HP, max attack, Adamant Nature, put 4 in defense, and we're gonna have all 4 attacking moves, which means we can have an Assault Vest. So that 100 Spadef is gonna get that multiplied by 1.5, which is pretty huge, essentially putting us at 150 Spadef. So that's gonna be pretty massive. And we have Knockoff, one of the few Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet that actually have Knockoff, which is a phenomenal move. It's going to do 65 damage, stab, and remove the item, and doing 1.5 times damage. Poison Jab with Poison Touch is going to be a really good combo. If you do not like Poison Touch, you could try Gluttony with a different berry to get that increased HP regain, but I think it's more important for your poison jabs to actually be poisoning with poison touch in general, and makes all your moves actually poison as long as they're physical contact moves. And because we are pretty bulky, Drain Punch is actually a really good option for us. And since we have a pretty decent attack set at 105, this is actually going to hurt quite a bit and give us that more general sustain as well. And the last move is going to be like a coverage move. It has to be a move that does damage because we have Assault Vest. So I really like Rock Slide in general. Rock is just phenomenal as a move in general, but you could go with Body Slam if you want a chance to paralyze some things. That could always be a fun one. You could go with Fire Punch. Fire Punch is actually a really good option because that allows us to hit through a lot of other Pokemon that we normally cannot actually get through. Ice Punch is another pretty decent option here too. You could go Stone Edge, Thunder Punch, Zen Headbutt, but I really think Rock Slide or Fire Punch are going to be your two best options in this slot right here. And now we're done with the Alolan Pokemon. Unfortunately, there is no Alolan Marowak in Scarlet and Violet, but we do have some fun Galarian Pokemon to dive into here. And we have a Galarian Slowbro, and Galarian Slowbro, I actually think he's better off as a tank because like that max HP, max defense is going to be really good. He has like this really awkward attack and special attack at the same 100. So he already has decent stats, but let's like focus more on the bulk. And we can do like a setup build with Calm Mind here. And because he is Poison and Psychic, Sludge Bomb is going to do stab damage after some Calm Minds. That's going to be huge. Flamethrower is going to be great coverage. And for your last move, we can have Slack Off, or there's a lot of other options for on the special side. Of course, you can have like Psychic or Size Shock in that last slot if you would like to do that. You could do Grass Knot too. You could do Ice Beam. There's a lot of decent options in this last slot, but if you want some recovery, Slack Off's gonna be phenomenal. I like Leftovers on it just because we are setting up with Calm Mind, so allows it to set up, get that natural regen going on. And Regenerator is one of the best abilities in Pokemon, and I think it's a lot better than Own Tempo because we don't care about Intimidation and Quick Draw. It's just Quick Claw as an ability, which is just not that good of an item in general either. Now, Galarian Slowking is actually just a better Pokemon than Galarian Slowbro, which is pretty funny. I actually found this one on Smogon, this spread. So if you wanted to go on a more bulky set, but you already hit super hard because you have 110 special attack, which is pretty good already. You go max HP, and then you do a split between defense and special defense with an Assault Vest. And you're going to be an absolute monster on the special defensive side. And then you can start popping off with Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Side Shock, and Ice Beam. So if you want to go more offensive, I would recommend Slowking. But if you don't like having this defense but def split, you could just put 252 in special attack, go Modest Nature, and go ham on that. But I wouldn't actually want to set up with a Slowking just because you already have that pretty decent bulk on the special side already. So you can just start attacking, which I think is going to be really good for it. And now for the Galarian birds, which are definitely going to be the best of this group in this video here. Starting with Galarian Articuno, being Psychic Fly instead of that Ice type. And the ability competitive is actually really good. This Pokemon special attack stat is raised by 2 each time its stat is lowered by a foe. So it's actually going to be really good in raids, especially against a Pokemon that have Intimidate, because this is going to be free stat ups. And I do actually recommend Life Orb as our item. Now, the setup is going to be pretty easy here. Air Slash is going to be our best flying stab. Freezing Glare signature move is going to be pretty phenomenal. I mean, 90 psychic damage move, but also has a 10% chance of freezing is always nice. Calm Mind for setup and recover. There's not a lot of coverage moves if you want to put instead of recovery here. You could put Ancient Power. You could put Hyper Voice, but there really isn't too much. Shadow Ball is another decent one here. And very simple setup, just max HP, max special attack, Modest Nature, and you can put 4 in speed as well. Now, Galarian Zapdos, another phenomenal ability, Defiant. So whenever its stats gets dropped, its attack goes up by 2. So pretty good against Intimidate users in general. And I think Life Orb is going to be a phenomenal item on this Pokemon as well. Very simple to that Articuno. We're going to be going that max attack here. However, we're going to go max speed. If you are raiding with Zapdos, I would recommend going max HP because, you don't really need the speed that much in raiding, but definitely max HP in the raiding. If you're doing competitive, then go max speed. We're going to go dual stab with Drill Peck and then his signature move, Thunderous Kick, which is really good. Lowers the target's defense by 1 and it's 98 power fighting type move, which is very good. Stomping Tantrum is going to be really good coverage in general. Unfortunately, you do not get Earthquake. You could put a close combat there as well if you want a stronger fighting type move is another option too. And then I like U-Turn in competitive, but if you are raiding, I wouldn't actually run U-Turn. I guess another coverage move you could run is like Trailblaze is pretty decent. And there's not a lot of options. Maybe Facade, just in case you get burned, is another decent one. But yeah, the Zapdos is a little bit more limited in Articuno's moveset. And speaking about limited movesets, Galarian Moltres is probably the most limited, but it's still a phenomenal Pokemon. We're going max special attack, max speed, but if you are raiding with this thing, then I would go max special attack, modest nature, with max HP here too. Once again, Life Orb, and its ability is pretty good. When its HP goes down under half, it gets +1 to its special attack, which is going to be really good. So it's pretty easy to proc that +1 special attack. Signature move is going to be Fiery Wrath, which is a really good move, honestly. Has a 20% chance of flinching. If you are playing VGC, this move is like Dark type Rock Slide, but it has 100 accuracy in its special. It's actually crazy. We have Nasty Plot as our setup move, so we can Nasty Plot Fiery Wrath and good to go. Air Slash covers us as well for more stab flying type moves, which is pretty good. More chances of flinching right there. And Ancient Power pretty much is the only other like special move I could really recommend on this thing. You could put Shadow Ball, but Dark and Ghost sort of have a lot of the same coverage. So I think Ancient Power actually gives you a little bit more unique coverage here. And that's pretty much it for our Pokemon in this video. There's only 9. There is really not a lot of Alolan and Galarian Pokemon coming to Scarlet and Violet, unlike the Hisuian Pokemon, where it was probably like, what, 25, and this one we have 9. But these Pokemon are pretty solid. I definitely recommend getting the Galarian legendary birds because they're all going to be phenomenal Pokemon. Highly recommend building these. The other ones you don't have to build. Probably the one that stands out the most to me is probably gonna be something like a Alolan Muk, but the others you don't really have to build. If you don't have them, I wouldn't feel bad about it. Well guys, I hope this video was enjoyable, and I think we're gonna be doing one more video on this mini series about builds for the home Pokemon, and I think the last one we're gonna try to cover at least the best of the legendary and mythical Pokemon that came to home. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a great one.